So today is actually July 9th, 2025, and today's topic is the key to success in Alignable, how to identify your ideal customers and referral partners. And like I like to call it, your most profitable, those ideal customers who actually are going to help make a profit in your business. So my background, like I was saying before, I have been an entrepreneur since I was in my early 20s. My first business was a ballroom dance studio. And my claim to fame is a school that I owned for many, many years in Southern California, tutoring after school, private school, summer camps, 2 locations. And this topic really helped me when I figured it out, and I figured it out on my own. Now that I know that what I did and how I did it, I love to teach people how to do that. So what we're going to cover today is 3 things: who your ideal customer really is, who your ideal referral partners are, and why this is key to your success on Alignable and in your business. So let me show you, first of all, why I say this is your key to success on Alignable. So I'm going to show you the engine that powers Alignable. Is called Alignable 360. Okay, you can find it on your My Network page. I do a whole training on this. We're not going to get into all of these things, but I just want to show you this. When you click My Network on Alignable, this gives you the page here of all the people in your network. Okay, and it's prioritized by your ideal referral partners and your ideal customers. Okay, that's what Alignable's all about. They have actually built this engine, and you can go to your network page to see the people you're connected to, and you can sort them. You can click these buttons that will say, hey, these match up with who you told us your ideal customer is and who your ideal referral partners are. Okay, this is magic. This is super magic. This is Alignable 360. If you are not on our one of our plans that where you actually get this, you're missing out on something really amazing. If you are on it, let me just tell you that today's training might help you a little bit go in and make sure that your tags are right. So when you go to your profile and you see the 2 sections on your ideal customer and your referral partner, those little blue tags there, this is super duper important. Okay, you have to choose those tags to tell Alignable who your ideal customers and referral partners are, which propagate on your network page. Okay, your Alignable 360 network page. Okay, so this is why you have to understand all the things we're going to talk about today. You really want to make sure. So get ready to take a lot of notes, because you might actually your mind might get changed a little bit on which one of these tags you're going to choose. Okay. So first of all, this is what I'm going to talk about all day today, but just to give you an idea, what is your ideal customer? Who do you want your network to introduce you to is what to think about. So this is Ligaya Kelly on the screen here. Okay, she owns a pet boarding facility in Santa Clarita, California. I actually met her on Alignable, and I had been there. I had my school there for many years, but I didn't know her when I lived there because I didn't have any dogs to keep at her pet boarding facility. But here's the thing: when she filled out her profile on Alignable, she has actually 2 ideal customers, very, very, very different. So I want you to pay attention to this too. On your customer part, she had pet owners who need a place to bring their pets while they're on vacation or in an emergency or working. Okay. So but Alignable can't really help her with that, because Alignable doesn't ask us when we join if we own a pet in Santa Clarita, right? However, her other ideal customer is this: she looks to help other people get started in the pet industry. She's actually a consultant for other pet business owners, okay? Other kennel owners and things like that. So that's how she got a lot of consulting clients on Alignable. So what she did is she went through and she found all the different, she chose the tags for the different pet businesses that she could consult with. So Alignable could help her find that. Now, what's an ideal referral partner? Okay. We're going to come back to customer in a second. This is what a lot of people don't really truly understand when I talk to them. It's who you're most likely to share referrals with, where you can refer them to people and they can refer you to people. I say in Alignable, there's two types. The first type are the people that you meet and build relationships with who actually know you, like you, trust you, and will refer you to people they meet. Okay, those are the relationships you're building at in the different networking events on Alignable. However, your best referral partner are people who have businesses that serve your ideal customer, but they're not a direct competitor. For example, the guy has Bouquet Canyon Kennels. What is a business in her community where all of their customers have a pet? All of them. It is obviously a veterinarian. That's one. All of their customers own a pet, and guess what? They're always asking the veterinarian staff if they have a referral for a pet boarding facility. And guess what? Ligaya tells me that almost every single day, some of her customers ask for referrals for a veterinarian. They are the most perfect, ideal referral partners. Now, here's the thing. Can you clearly describe your ideal customers to anyone you meet? If you can't do that, if someone comes up to you and let's say you build a relationship with them and they go, "Who is your ideal customer? I want to refer you to someone." If you can't clearly describe that, how can you expect your referral partners to introduce you to the right people? And you got to be able to say it in one sentence, and that's what we're going to try to get to today. But I'm going to start with this. What your ideal customer is not. Okay. First of all, a lot of people think that their ideal is a market. It's your target market. But my friend John, who's with us today, said this to me and it always stuck with me. Target markets don't have credit cards. They can't a market can't pay you, a person can pay you. I want you to think of that as we're going through the training today. We're going to find a person, not a market. And it's definitely not everybody or anyone with skin because that's impossible. If you sell a high-end makeup or whatever, skincare cream, and you say, "Oh, anybody with skin is my ideal customer." And trust me, I've heard that so many times. I can't, I get just stressed out when people say that because, hey, there was this homeless guy that stands on the corner down here by the beach all the time. He doesn't have the money to pay for that. So it's not everybody. It has to be a specific type of person who's your ideal customer. So, um, I'm going to give you this quick story that really shows what can happen when you can really clarify it. So I have this friend, her name was Janet, and she was very introverted and very shy. And so she was a new health coach. She had just gotten her certification and we were out networking together and we were at this women's networking event. Everyone is in a big circle and doing the introduction, elevator pitches, whatever. Okay. And after that, everyone was networking, and my friend Janet came up to me and she said, "Sue, I don't know what I did wrong." I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Well, we did the introductions, and I'm a health coach, and the lady next to me is also a health coach. But look over there, everyone wants to talk to her. They're all lined up to talk to her, but nobody wanted to talk to me." I said, "Well, what did you say?" And she said, "Hi, I'm Janet. I'm a health coach." I said, "What'd the other lady say?" She said, "Hi, I'm Pat. I'm a health coach. I specialize in helping overweight women with knee problems." And everyone in the room raised their hand and lined up to go talk to her because they knew somebody who had that issue or they themselves had the issue and they knew exactly who she worked with. Does that make sense? So you have to be able to say it exactly like that in one or two sentences. Now, I know you might be saying this, but I have more than one ideal customer. Well, of course you do. Most people do. But which one do you focus on? Which one do you absolutely focus on? You focus on the most profitable one. So if you look at this picture on the screen, let's say that all four of these people are your ideal customer. But just looking at who they are, they're all different. They've all had different backgrounds. They lead different lives. They're different ages. They're different races. They're different genders. All that stuff. So each one of them you have to talk to in a different way. And so let's just imagine something. I'm going to tell my friend John's story here that might give you some perspective. So let's just pretend that you have this bottle of water here and it's $20 a bottle. That's how much this, it's a special kind of water. And you want to sell this bottle for 20 bucks a bottle. And you have three potential customers standing in front of you. Okay. Let's just pretend. Okay. So let's say the first one, this is a girl and she is loves the environment. She's like one of the green people. Everything she has helps the environment. She loves water. She loves to drink water. But if you told her this bottle was $20, what are the chances she's going to buy it? Probably not very much. She, first of all, if it's in a plastic bottle, she's probably not going to buy it at all. Now let's look at the second person. The second guy in front of you is he is a workout guy. Like he's trying to win this race, a marathon. He's training for a marathon and he wants to win this race. And this water that you have could help him win the race. It will really help with his endurance. So what are the chances that he might pay 20 bucks for this bottle of water? Well, I would say maybe either 50-50, because it depends on how serious he is about winning that race, but maybe he would only probably buy it while he's training for the race. So it's, he's a pretty good customer. But let's look at the third one. What if this is someone who is really sick? They actually might be dying and they need this water. This water could put them on the planet for a few more days, weeks, years. Maybe it could save their life. You tell me how many pallets of this water they're going to pay 20 bucks a bottle for. They aren't going to care, right? They are not going to care how much this water costs if they can stay on the earth a little while longer. Now, I know this is a pretty harsh example, but I really want you to think about that with your customers. Who would, they don't even care what they have to write the check for, okay? So let's start. I want you to really start thinking about who your most profitable customer is. That one that if you could just describe one and you could duplicate them over and over and over again, your business would be super successful. So how do you get to know your ideal customer? Your your ideal customer is discovered based on research, not your own opinion and perception. And it might not be who you think it is. And I have to tell the story because my friend John is here. He was there when this happened. So I sold my school and I was starting a new business. And I was in a mastermind with my friend John here. And I started working with him and there was a group of us and he went around and he said, so who's your ideal customer? What's your business, your new business? I said, well, I want to help people start a business. I'm really good at that and I've had a lot of success. So I really want to do that. That's my passion. And he said, okay, who's your ideal, most profitable customer? And he goes, did you do the research? I said, no, I don't need to. I know who it is. I was absolutely certain that I knew who my ideal customer was because I had a school and there were a lot of single parents or moms, I should say, who were stay-at-home moms. And after their kids went off to college, either some of them got divorced, some of them, they said, well, what am I going to do now? And they wanted to start a business. So I knew that there were people that wanted to do that, women like over 40, 50s, whatever, that wanted to do that. And he said, well, I'm just going to challenge you to do the research to make sure that's true. And I said, well, I don't need to, but okay. And this was way before the internet, well, we had the internet, but not ChatGPT. Way before that. So research was very painful. I'm telling you, I had to do tons of research. I had to go to Google keywords. I had to do all these things. I had to try different things to find my ideal customer. And guess what? I was completely wrong. When I finally figured out who that was, it was completely opposite of what I thought it was. It ended up being younger men who had gone to college to be like a rocket scientist or something, and they found out they could make more money by starting a business, or because they couldn't find a job or whatever. It was something along those lines. So I was completely wrong. So, you gotta do the research, but it's super easy now, and my friend John is here today, and he's at the end of this, where he is gonna actually show you some tools to help you. The other thing I wanna say on here is this: it might not be who you think it is. I don't know if there's any realtors here, but I'm gonna give you a realtor, story, because a lot of them say, "Oh, I can help anybody buy or sell a house," right? So, which is true, I'm sure, but I want you to think about something. So back several years ago, my younger sister and I found out that our dad had dementia. And I was in Southern California, she was in Arizona. My dad had a little house that he lived in forever in the middle of Nebraska, small town. And we had to go back there and move him to a memory care facility and sell his house. As you can imagine, we had a lot of realtors that wanted to sell his house. We have people lined up wanting to sell his house for us, but there was only one realtor that we picked. There wasn't any other choice in our opinion. It was the realtor whose marketing messages, their website, what they said to us, how they spoke to us, was they specialized in helping the children of seniors who we needed to sell their house. We were their ideal customer, not my dad. My dad couldn't sell his house. We were. So I went that message spoke directly to us. So there was only one choice. So a lot of people say, but I can help everybody. Yes, but make sure different marketing messages speak to the people. It will change your life when you start niching it down like that. Okay. How do you get to know that ideal customer? There's 3 things that I like to say. You can either interview them if you already have an ideal customer. I did this. My very first customer that I had to help them start their business was a woman who was a grief recovery specialist. She was brand new. She wanted to start her business. And oh my gosh, I love working with her. She was like the absolute best client I could ever have in my whole life. She was definitely my most profitable. She was amazing. I just wanted to duplicate her over and over again. So I would take her out to lunch. I would share my marketing messages with her. I'd talk to her. I'd just find out every single thing I could possibly find out about her so that I could find more like her. The second way that you can get to know your ideal customer is by spying on your successful, not unsuccessful competitors, businesses who serve the same ideal client. So when I had a tutoring business, which was just tutoring, where people would bring their kids to me. I'd tutor them for an hour and they go home. But then all of a sudden, I had to start an after school program because of things that happened, and people wanted me to start an after school program where we had to pick up kids from school and bring them back to the center and keep them till their parents drove in from their very, very long commute to Los Angeles. This was just outside of Los Angeles. And so I didn't know anything about after school programs. So guess what I did? I started researching. I went and spied on my competitors. My biggest competitor, um, I I learned everything. I looked at his marketing messages. I visited his facility. I went and visited other facilities. I looked at his website. I really, really studied it and found the most successful ones, and then I made mine a little bit better. Okay, so that's a really good way to do it too. And then what I'm gonna have John share today is other research, and he has a chat GPT. Well, it's a AI tools that will actually help you with this, but you could do it with ChatGPT as well. Okay, it's very simple to do that, but you have to have the right prompts and everything, but it's so much easier now than it was back then. Okay, why is this so important for your business? Well, it's easy because your marketing messages will be much easier to create and they'll work right away. So they'll attract like a magnet your ideal customers because you'll be speaking their language and creating those personal experiences and building a community of your loyal customers. Okay, now I'm going to share this with you. Whoops, there's people trying to get in here. I had my tutoring business, so I just explained to you one of the things that when I had to start my after school program, here's what I knew. I knew this because I had this tutoring business for a really long time. And so a lot of parents would call me and they would just be in tears with homework. They homework was such a pain for their family. It would cause so much stress for them that they just wanted somebody to help them with their homework. So my after school program was this. We would pick up kids from school, we'd bring them back, and most places were like daycares. And then that's how I knew a lot of parents would bring their kids to us after they paid for daycare, then they had to come pay for tutoring. Well, I put it all in one. We'd picked our kids up from school, we'd bring them back, get all their homework done, tutor them, take them to their, dance classes or whatever. And then when the parents picked them up from us, they just could go have their family time. Okay, they didn't have to worry about homework or any of that. So here was it was $1 million marketing message. That's what I like to call it. I came up with, this was my advertisement. No more homework headaches, get your family time back. Brilliant, right? Do you know how many people called me and said, I have a headache? I get that all the time. So here's the thing I want you to notice. Were parents looking for tutoring? No. They were looking for time with their family. They didn't want to pay for tutoring. They wanted to pay for time with their family. They didn't care how much to pay for this. That it was so valuable to have that family time back that they did not care. They would just say, what do I write the check for? Now I'm going to give you my, actually, John, are you here? Let me see if he's here somewhere. Where are you, John? Are you here in the room? Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
somewhere.
Are you here? I gotta find you. Can you come on screen so I can find you? I want you to tell
Uh,
this story. I love this story so much.
which one?
Can you see the multi-million-dollar shift in ideal
Oh,
customers?
gotcha. Yeah. All right. So yeah, I used to do like annual meetings with all my clients, and we had this one client that originally came to me to sell water sports equipment to like hotels and resorts and all that. So they were selling basically fins, masks, snorkels, the occasional Hobie cat, all that kind of stuff. But they sold them in volume. They were selling, mass quantities to resorts for rental stuff. And their business was great. And I was sending them those type of customers. But at the annual meeting, I brought them into my office and I said, I want to do better for you. So I need to understand what's your most profitable products that you're selling so I can kind of refocus the efforts for you. And they said, well, water slides is where the most profit is. And I said, well, you've never even told me about that. So I said, okay, well, let's kind of reshift your marketing. Let's focus on that buyer. And we did. And shortly after that, the guy was in his office on a weekend and he gets his phone call. And the woman on the other line said, hello, this is Celine Dion. And he thought it was a joke and he hung up on her. And she called right back and said, this is Celine. I think we got cut off. And he's like, oh, wow. Well, how did you find me? And she said, I looked on Google and you came up number one for water slide creators. And so anyway, she wound up flying him out to her house in Las Vegas that afternoon. And he wound up putting $1 million water slide in her backyard. So that was pretty cool, but that's not where it ended. He was so excited about that. He came back and he's like, now I want to sell water parks, not just slides. I want to sell the whole water park. And I'm like, oh, let's pump the brakes a minute. Can you actually do a water park? That's a long cry from fins, masks, and snorkels. And he's like, yeah, he goes, I have all the vendors, I have all the contracts. He goes, I have all the know-how. I just didn't think it was possible. So we reshuffled his marketing campaign. We started creating messaging for that ideal customer. And before you knew it, it took a couple of months, but he called me up and he says, I can't believe it. He goes, I just signed a deal for $100 million water park in Dubai. And I'm like, wow. So if that isn't proof in the pudding that you need to focus on your most profitable avatar, I don't have a better story for you.
I love that story so much. I absolutely love to talk about it. And this one too, right? You told
Yeah.
me this story too. I don't think I never found his original book, but I don't know how many of you have read The 4 Hour Work Week by Timothy Ferriss. Very, very, very famous book. I don't know how many, probably billion copies he sold. But when he first wrote this book, correct me if I'm wrong, John, but he wrote the book about outsourcing. The
Yes.
title of the book was about outsourcing. It was something like Outsourcing for Dummies. I don't know what the original one was. But nobody bought the book because the title was about outsourcing. Nobody wanted to buy a book on that. But guess what? All he did was change the cover and the title to The 4 Hour Work Week. Now,
Well, he did a little more than that.
did he?
What he did was he did the research on his ideal customer.
Oh,
And that is where he discovered outsourcing wasn't what they wanted. Outsourcing was what they needed, but it's not what they wanted. It's not what they were focused on. They were focused on an easy, passive lifestyle. Outsourcing was the thing that would get them there. And that's what the book is. If you read the 4 Hour Work Week, it's all about outsourcing.
that's right.
But he focused on what they wanted. They wanted an easy 4 hour week lifestyle. So he changed the name and it made it a bestseller. These things just flew off the shelf as soon as he did that.
I love that story too. So I'm hoping you guys are all, your minds are going, okay, how can I change what I'm doing here? So before we get into how to find those ideal customers in a minute, I just want you to know that if you get all of this right, and once you know exactly who your ideal customer is, you can easily determine where to find them. So you want to make sure you know who they are, and then you got to do the research to figure out where they hang out. If they are on Pinterest, then go there. If they're on Alignable, if they're on at the Chamber of Commerce meetings, where are they? You can go find them and go to them. All right. So real quick on Alignable, Alignable 360. This is the whole engine now that powers Alignable. Right here at the top, where you see my network on Alignable, this right here is your network page where everybody you continue to connect with shows up. And it is absolutely prioritized. You can actually sort it not only by who might match up with your ideal customer and your ideal referral partners, but who they know. They might know someone who matches up with your ideal customer. And this is what Alignable 360 is. Let's say you look at this person and it shows that they know a lot of people that are your ideal customers. You can actually click see matches, whoops, and you can be automatically in their network, okay? And you can see who they know. So this is why it's so important to get this right, so that Alignable and Alignable 360 can work for you. So I'm going to give you one last story here from my awesome friend Fran Jessie, who I love to death, and she's going to be 81 years old this next month, or actually this month, and she's a serial entrepreneur, and I got to tell her story because this is something that it's a great success story. So Fran and I have been friends for a long time, way before I started Alignable. When I had my school, we used to go to networking events. I knew her in Santa Clarita, California. Well, she was always creating new products and things to sell. And she came running up to me one day and said, "Oh my gosh, Sue, I created this amazing product." Well, let me just tell you, she's a complete expert in every single spice and herb and what every single one of them does for your health. Like garlic is good, antibiotic, right? So she knows every spice. She is like an expert in this. So she said, Sue, I figured out that if I blend different spices together, it can really help people with their health benefits, and they can put them in smoothies. And so she created this it was something like spice blends for health benefits, or for smoothie spices. That's what she called it, smoothie spices for health benefits. And she gave it to me. She goes, Sue, this is going to help you get healthy. And I was like, oh, thanks, Fran. And I went home and I put it in the cupboard for years because I'm already healthy. I was like, it didn't mean anything to me. It's like, and I don't drink smoothies. I didn't at the time. So I never even used it because I wasn't her ideal customer. She wasn't speaking to me as her ideal customer. But here's what happened. So my dad, when he got dementia, and I had to spend some time with him, I spent time with him, and I saw how it changed him. It scared me to death. I was absolutely terrified that I was going to get it. And I was like, no way. I have got to figure this out. And I was talking to her. I was actually crying, going, I don't know how am I going to keep myself from getting dementia someday? And she said, wait, Sue, I'm going to create a blend of spices that will help with your brain, will help your brain, give you benefits to make your brain healthy. I said, oh my gosh. So you can guess how many packets of those spices I have in my cupboard. A little bit later, my hair started breaking off. She goes, oh, I'll make one to help with the hair and skin and how to keep them healthy. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then we started talking, and my friend John, who's here again, I remember talking to him, and he said that one of the biggest search terms on YouTube was belly fat, how to get rid of belly fat. I don't know if you guys did that, but everybody wants to get rid of belly fat. And so she said, oh, I can create a blend of spices that will help reduce, get rid of your belly fat. I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. And then it just kept going from there. My friend Rossi, who's in her 80s, and her husband has diabetes. And my friend Fran was coming over to visit. We're in the same area. And I told her about the belly fat spices, that someone was taking them and it helped them sleep better. And she literally started crying and saying, oh my God, I have the worst insomnia. I really need to get to sleep. I wake up, I can't get back to sleep. It's affecting my whole life. And she said, can she please bring some of those? And then I told her that she also had ones for diabetes. So here's on the screen, she created separate little spice blends for each different health benefit, and each one of them have a different marketing message. And so then people started going, oh, okay, now I get it, right? And she got so busy manufacturing and putting together, she does all the branding and everything herself. She decided to write a book about it. And so you can go find this on Amazon, Fran the Spice Lady, and she wrote a book to teach other people how to do it. So I thought that was a really cool story. Um, so that is the Fran story. So here's what I want to do now. I am going to stop the share here, and I'm going to bring on my friend John, if I can find you here. Are you ready, John? I'm going to spotlight him here. If he can come on back online, spotlight. Let me find. Oh my goodness.
I'm back.
Okay, let me add the spotlight.
Hmm.
Come on. Where are you? Oh goodness. Come on, my tech is
I
not
got him right. You see him?
You
Are
got
we
too,
did I
got too many
unspotlight
people in there.
I can
what's
see
that?
you both.
Oh, there we go. I clicked the pin thing or something. Sorry about that. Okay, I want to introduce my friend, amazing friend, John Limbacher. You guys are so lucky to have him on here today. I asked if he wouldn't mind taking some time out of his busy day to share his tools on how, and any other great words of wisdom, John, before you share the tools that actually you have created to help people find those ideal customers.
Yeah, sure. It's my story kind of goes way back. I've been doing advertising stuff for businesses since like 1985, before the internet. And where I started was in commercial photography, and I did like high-end special effects. And a lot of my customers were ad agencies. So I got to sit in the boardroom of these ad agencies while they created the marketing campaigns. And back then, I kind of just took it for granted. I was just a photographer, but I didn't realize till many years later the actual education that I got sitting in those boardrooms, because I got to watch how they worked. And the one thing that I realized was it didn't matter what product, it didn't matter what service, it didn't matter what company, how big or how small, they always did the exact same process. It was like they had a protocol and it worked every time. It wasn't like, it was hit or miss. If they did a marketing campaign, it worked. And once I kind of got out of that, the thing that pressed me out of that whole business was Photoshop. It was an evolution of technology. All of a sudden, they no longer needed me for special effects. They could do it with Photoshop. And I was like, oh shit, this is the end of a really cool career. Because get this, think about this as far as numbers of what this would be today. Back in the mid 80s to early 90s, these companies were paying me $3,500 a day plus expenses to do what I did. That was a lot of money. So I was not very pleased when technology destroyed it right up from under my feet. But what it did, it transitioned me just into a new technology, which was the internet. Because I had all those customers, all the customers that I worked for, under those ad agencies, I went back to them and offered them internet services, which at the time was really revolutionary. They all wanted it and nobody knew how to do it. So I had a perfect shoe in. And later, I had a lot of big customers. I did a lot of business for big customers, and that was great. The money was really good, but I got to a point where it wasn't about the money anymore. I had plenty of that. So I wanted to help struggling business owners. I started joining these mastermind groups and realizing how a lot of people wanted to develop businesses, and some had already quit their day jobs and jumped in, and what they were discovering was there was a lot more to it than they knew, and they were struggling. And I looked at that and I'm like, these guys and gals don't know what the ad agencies knew. So I kind of took a step back in my mind and said, what was that? How did they do that? And I was able to remap it. I was able to actually go back. I did a lot of study and research into their protocols and realized I had seen all of that over and over and over. And I was very familiar with exactly how they did it. So I actually went to work and put together a training program that would help small, struggling business owners and people that hate their day jobs and want to get out of it desperately. And I put this protocol together and I'm like, here's how you do it. This is exactly how you do it. And I got to tell you, in all the years I've been in business, I've never seen someone be successful that could replicate the success without following this protocol. There's some people that just get lucky. Some people will get lucky and they'll be very successful in business, but when it disappears or when it shifts and changes and technology appears and they have to do it again, they didn't know how they did it. It was luck. So they can't replicate it. When you understand the protocol and you understand what makes a business successful, you can do it over and over and over. And you can help others. I'm sure you guys probably know people that are struggling, either family members or friends, and it's really nice to be able to help people. So it's a really, really valuable skill. So I put that together, and that was just the beginning of my journey that took me where I am now. What I realized was everybody loved it. They love the training. They love the fact that I put everything into simple little formats and recipes. Like every step of the process is I broke down into like really simple ways to do it. But for me, nobody did it. It was like I could give them examples, I could show them, I could go through all of that, and then nobody did it. It was like I would show them how to figure out who your most profitable avatar is. I would show them how to do the avatar research. I would show them how to create the attention grabbing headlines. And I have recipes for all of it that makes it an absolute no brainer. And I'm like, why is nobody getting this? Why, I kind of felt like a failure. And then all of a sudden, AI comes on the scene. And I was able to build GPT tools that actually does the formulas for you. And that is where I've seen some real success in my business. I measure success by how successful those are that I can teach this stuff. And I wasn't being very successful just teaching it. I had to supply them tools that would actually do it for them. And that's where I built this suite called the Quantum Suite. And this might seem a little overwhelming. There's over 50 tools in it. Now, you might think, oh my God, that's too much to learn. But you don't have to. You only use the tools that you need to do what you need to do for the job at hand. Like you might want to figure out, how do I figure out who the most profitable segment of a market is? So I have a tool for it. You simply put in what you're doing and it will give you the top 10.
So do you want to show them how? I made you a
Oh,
code,
sure.
so you can share your screen if you want to.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Let me see here. I'll share. And this screen that I'm on, this is the actual ACT marketing protocol. And this is what I created. And I broke it into three pieces. It's analysis, creation, and traffic. That's why I call it ACT, A-C-T. You have to do this stuff in this order. You have to do this analysis first. And that's what Sue has been talking to you about. And, this is where she learned this stuff. She went through one of my first initial courses where I taught this stuff. And it really starts with analyzing the different segments of the market and figuring out where the profit is. And that's like the story I just told you about the fins, masks, and snorkels to water slides. I mean, we went from tens of thousands of dollars in sales to $1 million sale to $100 million sale. Just in changing the market segment. It was that simple. So looking at all the segments of your market that's a key foundational cornerstone of where you start. If you want to spin your wheels, just don't do that. It's that simple. You can go and you can try and serve everyone, and you are just going to burn yourself up. Focus where the profit is. And then, once you do the analysis, then you have all the material to go into creation and you can create the hook. That's your big idea. That's your attention grabber. And then you can create demand and desire, eliminate objections, and make offers. And I've got all the lessons on exactly how to do that here. But I think this is where the real magic is in the Quantum Suite. This is the suite of tools that I created basically to do all that work for you. So you'll notice they're broken into folders because 50 images on the screen was just too much for most people. So I kind of categorized them and broke them up a little bit better. So if you need images, and we all need images, we all need video. Most of us will need audio like voiceovers and music for background stuff. So those tools are all here in these three folders. But this is where the ACT tools are. So when you click on this, the tools are all in order of how you should go through them. And market segmenter. This is like the key foundation. You just click on that and you put in what is your market. And it will give you the top sectors by profitability. Like it'll give you the number 1 through 10, and it breaks them all down. Like hobbyists, that's number 10. That's low man on the totem pole. You don't want to serve hobbyists. And I don't remember, this one is for tech startup founders. But like let's say you're in diet. I'll just use this as an example. So the specific market is diet. Diet is very broad. So this is going to give us the top 10 segments of the diet market. And I have no idea what it's going to come up with, but we'll see. So weight loss dieters rank number 1. Health conscious professionals, number 2. So let's see what number 10 is. Okay, ethical environmental dieters. This is what Sue was talking about, the green people. They don't want to pay for this stuff. They want to be green as long as it doesn't cost them anything. So they're really, from a customer standpoint, and I don't mean to bash on anybody that's in the green category, but you tend to be the worst possible customer for product people. So you focus here. So this will give you the niche. So let's say we've got a health conscious professional and we think, okay, that's who we serve. So I just copied that. And now let's go back and let's go to the second tool in here, which is the build a buyer. And Sue talks about an avatar profile. You can try and figure this out on your own. You can talk to, like the ad agencies, what they would do, they would talk to a group of 50 people. They would do a survey group. They would put them together. Sometimes they call them focus groups, but they would pay for their opinions. They would put this marketing group, focus group together, and they would ask them hundreds of questions. And then they would analyze all the answers to figure out what was in the head of that ideal customer. And this tool will do exactly that. So let's put in that's the health conscious professionals, and the product, let's just say it's a diet pill. I'll just be really generic here. So that's who we're focused on, and this is what we're going to try and sell them. And I'm going to generate results. And this is absolutely amazing what this does. There's like 28 pages of a prompt behind this tool that's doing all the work for you to figure all this out. And it takes it a couple minutes here to kind of churn up all this data. But when you look at what it brings up, you'll go, oh my God, that was really fast. So here it comes. So here's the name. And again, you always put a name to the avatar. So when you're creating your marketing materials, you can speak directly to this person. It's really good to do that because your conversation will come out much clearer when you're creating marketing materials and you're doing copywriting. Or if you're going to hire a copywriter, let's say you don't want to do the copy, you don't want to do the marketing. You damn well better do this research so you can give it to the person that's going to do it, because they're not going to do this. They're going to ask you a bunch of questions. You're probably not going to know how to answer them. And it's garbage in, garbage out. So they're going to write you copy that's not going to convert because they don't know who you're focused on. So here's a description of the person. Here's their core problem. And then you get into the emotions. This is the really powerful part. The emotions around the problem, the frustration, the shame, the envy, the anxiety, the hopelessness. Here's the fears that those problems are creating. So losing credibility, losing attraction, health deterioration, never achieving ideal self-image, secretly believing that aging means losing control for good. So here's how those fears affect this person in their general life. This is some really deep stuff. I always tell people if you're going to do copywriting, you need to understand what's going on in the head of your prospect. When they go to sleep at night, what's keeping them up? That's what this is. It's like mind reading. Here's conversational but hurtful things that these relationships that it's talking about here might say. Like, did you stop running? You never talk about the gym anymore. These are things like stabbing, knife in the back kind of stuff. You need to understand their worst nightmares, and that's what this is. Here's other solutions that they've probably tried: intermittent fasting, expensive boutique fitness classes. This is all the stuff they've tried. Here's the sound bites about the failures. Here, this one I find really interesting. This is what they don't want to do to fix their problem. So if you're writing copy and you're trying to tell them that this is what they need to do, you're telling them what they don't want to do to fix their problem. So you're killing the sale. If you don't understand this, you're going to kill the sale. It's just like the Tim Ferriss book. He was trying to push outsourcing on them. That's not what they wanted. They didn't want to do outsourcing. They wanted 4-hour work week. You have to understand what's music to their ears so you can sing to them. That's what's going to get them to fall in love and purchase your products. So here's the sound bites around what they don't want to do. Here's the transformation that they're looking for. It says if a genie could snap their fingers and give them the perfect solution, what would their lives look like? And this is it. How would that transformation affect relationships in the prospect's life? This is what you need to focus on right here. This is what they want. Here's the sound bites about what they want to hear. So, can you guys see like how powerful this is? And how easy it was for us to get this? We literally put in 2 pieces of information. We put in the market. It gave us the top 10 segments of the market. We picked one and we said what product we wanted to sell to that segment. And we got all this data from 2 pieces of information. You'd be here for a long time trying to figure this out on your own, and you probably would never do it as well as this tool will.
Trust me, when you made me do all that research way back before all of this, I was in tears, literally. I would be up all night, every night for weeks. It was terrible. So this just blows my mind. And by the way, before I let John keep going, we are going to keep going as long as and we'll open it up for questions. I hope you're okay, John, staying a little longer. If you
Yeah, that's no problem.
Okay. Awesome. And I also put a link in the chat. John, I kind of yelled at him. I told him he should charge a lot more, but it's he's giving everybody on Alignable that I have that link 47 bucks a month, and you get all those tools, the entire ACT program that I paid like $1,500 for back in the day. So
And
I
you
just
didn't
have
even
to
get the
share.
tools.
Oh my God. So anyway, sharing it with everybody. So keep going, John. Sorry.
No worries. But you can download this. You can take this information, give it to a copywriter, or like what I always tell people to do is you should create like a dossier on every product and every service that you sell, and you put it all in a book so it's all at your fingertips. So if you're ever writing copy, you can refer to it. You can refer to all of your research because the gold is in that research. When you're writing copy and you're trying to convey the value of what you're trying to sell, you need to focus in on these emotions. You need to focus in on what that prospect wants and deliver that. That's how you make sales. That's how you grow a really, really successful business. And I always say that's how you get clients predictably. How bad is it? I know some of you are experiencing this. You just wake up every day wishing for a new customer, and it's just by haphazard that it happens. How would you like to wake up and be able to predict how many customers you were going to get? When you create the marketing, it's just a matter of how many you put it in front of. You get your conversion number, and if you can convert at 1 out of 5, for you to get a customer, you just need to show that message to 5 ideal prospects. And how many customers you're going to have at the end of the day by your numbers. So that's some pretty cool stuff. It saves the profiles here in the history so you can refer to them anytime. But these tools are incredibly powerful. They go through, it'll show you your competition. And here's something most people, they always focus on the wrong thing for competition. Like I'll use a chiropractor as an example. If you ask a chiropractor, who are your competitors? They're going to list off all the local chiropractors. And that's it. They don't realize they have competitors because their solution is back pain. So, yes, a chiropractor can address back pain, but so can a massage therapist, so can an acupuncturist, so can a surgeon, so can a guy selling pain medication. There's a lot more competition that they're dealing with, and those competitors are doing what I call creating hears and fears. They're hearing things from those competitors like chiropractic's dangerous. If he screws up, you'll never walk again. You better understand what the market is hearing about you. And the only way you're going to do that is by figuring out who your real competition is, and then figuring out what your prospect's hearing and the fears it's creating so you can address them. You can set the record straight. You could have copy that says, hey, I know what you've heard. I've heard it too. It's not right, but we've all heard it. We've all heard that a chiropractor can paralyze you. Never in the history of chiropractic has that ever happened, right? You can address it. You can destroy it. You can put it into your favor. That's your chance to tell your story. You can say the ones that really paralyze you is the surgeons. The ones that really mess up your life are the ones that get you addicted to pain medication. You can avoid all that by using my services. So you see how you can craft the message if you understand what's going on, what they're hearing and fearing. This is really, really important stuff. This is exactly what the ad agencies did over and over and over. They've been doing it for over 100 years. They haven't changed. They're not going to change. The only thing that changes is the media of the delivery of the message. Like we're all online. We're all getting inundated with online advertising. That's the only thing that's changed. The messaging has not changed one iota. It's still about people. It's not about selling to markets. They don't have credit cards, like Sue said. You're selling to people. You have to address their fears. You have to understand their wants and their desires, and you have to create the right messaging. If you do that, the sales are imminent. But it's really hard to do without having all these things working in your favor. Buying triggers. This is like the emotional things they need to hear that will trigger them to buy. If you don't have these are things that are triggering them to not buy. So you need to destroy those, build these, and then these are lead magnets. This is how you get prospects. It's like it's free things that you can offer them to get them to opt in so you have somebody to follow up with. If you have a website that is not building you a mailing list, you're in what I call a buy or die scenario. You have a buy or die website, and you're probably dying doing that. People come, they leave, they didn't buy, and you have no way to follow up with them. They're not coming back, by the way. If they come and you don't force a sale on them, you just try and be helpful. You say, hey, I know what you're going through. I know what you want. I've done it. I can help you. I have a free guide. I have a free 5 things you need to know. I have a free list of things that will sabotage you. You know, anything you've got like that, those are lead magnets. You give that away, they opt in to get it, and now you've got their mailing list or you've got their phone number. Now you can follow up with follow-up messages to create demand and desire. You can eliminate objections. Basically, by the way, this is your presentation. You need a presentation to make a sale. And that's what all these pieces are, whether you string them out in 10 different emails to make the presentation, or you invite them to a webinar, you explain it all, then make an offer. However it works, people aren't going to buy without a proper presentation. I don't know, this is like one of the things that is most underestimated in business is people underestimate what it takes to actually make a sale. They underestimate that. And that is a critical failure point in their business. You have to understand what you're dealing with. You have to overcome all these obstacles. You know, there's an obstacle in every one of these that you have to overcome. And these are magic buttons to do it for you. You know, like this is big idea. This is your attention grabber. This formula I got from a guy named David Ogilvy, who was a famous ad man from the 1950s, right? Not quite 100 years ago, but it's going back a long way. This was like the golden man of ad agencies. Every campaign he touched literally turned to gold. And he was interviewed, and they asked him, you know, they said, David, what is it about you that everything you touch turns to gold? And he said, it's the big idea. And he didn't say what a big idea was. He just had a name for it. He said, any campaign without a big idea is going to pass like a ship in the night, meaning it won't be seen. If your marketing, if your presentation is not seen, you will not sell it. Your product won't sell. It has to be seen, and the big idea is the key to grab their attention to draw them into your story. Your story is your presentation. That's what's going to sell your products. At the end of that, you have to make an irresistible offer. And again, this is a tool that will help you do that. There's other things along the way too. You have to have benefits. To create an irresistible offer, you have to have benefits. You also need to eliminate objections. This formula I got from Benjamin Franklin. By the way, this was almost 300 years ago. They're still using it today, every day in ad agencies to eliminate objections. And nobody's telling you about it. This is not taught in any school. You can go through PhDs in business and they will not even address this, where Benjamin Franklin had a 3-step formula that would literally eliminate any objection. And the magic behind it, I'll kind of share a little bit of the formula with you. The formula is claim proof benefit. But the reason why it works and the reason it's causing the objection to begin with, Benjamin Franklin understood that every objection is based on a belief. No matter how you slice it, it's based on a belief. That belief is going to prevent them from buying your product. I don't care how good your presentation is. I don't care how cheap you make it. Nothing you will be able to do is going to overcome that and turn it into a sale if that objection is still standing. You've got to knock it down. So you have to understand what the belief is behind it that's creating it. It might be as simple. We'll just use diet because we started there. Their thing might just be, it won't work for me. I've tried something like that. It didn't work. So that's not going to work for me. Do you think they're going to buy your product if they think it's not going to work for them? Never going to happen. So the formula is claim, proof, benefit. I'll show you exactly why it works. So whatever the belief is, if they believe they can't, the claim is exactly 100% opposite. So your claim has to be, this will work for you. I know you think it won't, but this will work for you. If you stop there, it's just an argument. That's not helpful. But you immediately follow it up with two proof points. The proof point can't be just you saying it. That's not proof. That's a claim. Doesn't mean it's real. And in the prospect's head, it's not real. They believe they can't. You just saying they can, they just think that's bullshit. So that's why you immediately follow it up with two proof points. The proof points should not be you, it shouldn't be your opinion. It should be either medical proof, it should be a third party that's endorsing this thought that this is true. It could be social proof. There's all kinds of different proof points. You could reference a magazine article that's from that industry. It's a third party verification that it's not just your opinion. So now that you've basically turned it to a fact, you threw out your opinion, you solidified it as a fact. Now here's something about human nature. Most people won't argue a fact. They'll argue opinion all day long. They will defend an opinion to the death, but they won't argue a fact because they don't want to look stupid. So if you lock it in as a fact, all of a sudden now you just changed their belief. And now you throw in the third step. It's claim, proof, benefit. Now that you've reversed the belief, you reattach it to the thing that you know they want, the benefit. That will sell your product like hotcakes. Benjamin Franklin is living proof of this. He used this formula, and it's what put him in the Marketers Hall of Fame. If you look up Benjamin Franklin, Marketers Hall of Fame, you'll see his ad campaign for selling a wood-burning stove. The wood-burning stove shows very clearly the claim, proof, benefit. He outsold the competitors like they weren't even there because of that. And he admitted his product was the worst product on the market. All the competitors had better product, but he outsold them like they weren't even there because he knew how to communicate value. And that's what all these tools are. That's what the ACT marketing protocol gives you. It gives you the power to communicate your value. And that's what all these tools just do for you. They're really, really cool. So, I mean, I could go on and on all day about this stuff.
So John, so you guys that are still here, thank you guys for being here. Are your minds just going, oh my gosh, like I posted a link in the chat for $47 a month. You get all these tools, you get the entire ACT program, and you get John every single week to talk like this for an hour or more and teach you all this stuff like live, right? And answer your questions. Am I wrong, John? Did I do that right?
Every week, every Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. I've been doing that call for over 10 years.
Wow. And
That's
it's I've known John for a really long time, and I worked directly with him and helped him, with this program, and I could just sit and listen to him all day long. I learned something every single time. So I'm gonna open it up. I have a little bit more time. I don't know if you do, John, but if you guys have any questions, you can use that hand reactions button down at the bottom and click raise hand. Does anybody have any questions for John before we let him go? Because he's a very busy guy.
Was that stuff like helpful? Because I mean, it was just like the tip of the iceberg.
The truth. There's so much more to that. Anybody have any questions for John? Did you guys get something out of this today? Like, did you take at least one thing away? Okay, good. All right. So again, anybody else nobody has a question? Usually I have 5 million questions. Linda, did you have a question, or you're just putting your thumbs up? All
Just
right.
putting a thumbs up.
Okay. Any other last minute thoughts, John? Thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate it.
I would say you probably don't have questions because they don't even know where to start. But
Anyway,
I would really encourage you guys, if you want to do yourself a favor and you want to learn this stuff, I guarantee you this will be the most effective skill set you ever learn in your life. And once you learn it, it's with you for life. Any business opportunity, you'll be able to evaluate a business opportunity at a glance and know if it's right for you. If it is right for you, you'll know how to turn it into money pretty quickly because it's all about figuring out who it's for. You know, anything in business, you're trading something of value for something of value. You have something they want, they have something you want, which is money. And you're going to trade that. So the key is to figure out what they want, why they want it, have the thing of value, explain the value so they understand it, so they're willing to give you the money to get it. That's business in a nutshell. And once you figure out how to do that, you will never want for anything ever again. That is the keys to the kingdom. If you don't figure that stuff out, whether it's from me or from somebody else, if you don't, you're going to just continue on the same path that you've been on. And maybe that's good, maybe it's okay, maybe it's good enough for you. But I guarantee if you want better, you need to sharpen that sword. And that's every step of, you don't have to do the whole program either. You don't have to use all the tools. Every little piece that you learn, it's going to make you better and better. And I guarantee once you get a taste of success, you're going to be hungry for more. You're going to want more. And it's all there for you. It's all you can eat. It's just what's your appetite.
and I just have to share in this chat, you guys, one of the tools in there, I use this more than anything else, is the a headshot, like the photo one. All those photos I just put in the chat are AI, and it's a tool in that suite. People that I know ask me where I got who was the photographer, and it's literally AI. And you tell it what you want it to look. Those aren't those amazing? If you look at those pictures, those are not me. Those are, I don't wear those clothes. It was all AI. And so I'm using that in my stuff. It's just pretty fascinating. I mean,
Yeah,
some of it you have six fingers or three arms, but you get rid of those.
do you guys want to see like a small clip of what I did with AI to promote myself?
Yes.
Here,
Sure.
here is a total admission here of a fault that I have it's big. It goes all the way back to grade school. I have never been able to read a script aloud to save my life. I can read no problem, but to try and read aloud, like in front of somebody, if you want to make me look like an idiot, you just have me do that. So, and in marketing, you're really engineering, like your words are really important in a presentation. So you're engineering that. And I hired a copywriter. I was being lazy and I said, yeah, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to promote this and I don't want to write the copy. So I hired a copywriter that was really good. They were really expensive. I literally paid this copywriter like $10,000 to write this hour presentation. And I'm reading it. And I'm like, wow, this is really good, but I'm going to look like an idiot if I try and read this. And there's no way I'm going to memorize it. And it's so I turned to AI and I said, I need a clone of me that knows how to read a script really well. And that's what I created. And it solved my problem. So the AI version of me can read a script no problem. They can do it better than I can. So that's what I did. I totally cheated. That's full admission. I completely cheated on this presentation, but I did it in a way that it's not deceitful because I actually came right out in the front and I told them what it was that they were about to watch. So that's what I'll share with you guys. I'm not going to show you the whole thing because it's an hour long, but I'll go a few minutes into it so you can see past the first few seconds where I introduce myself and I hand it off to the AI version of me, after that handoff, the entire thing is AI. The voice is AI. The me version of me is AI. All of the images are AI. They were all created by the suite of tools that I've got. So all the images, all the little video clips, the background music, all that stuff is AI. The only part of me that's in there is the first few seconds and the last few seconds. Because I say right in the beginning, I go, I'm going to check in with you at the end and see what you thought. So I'm going to share the screen again. Let's see. Okay, so this is the image for the video, and it says AI tools that make you feel like a kid on Christmas morning. So here we go. I'm just going to play the first few minutes of it for you guys. This is me. What you're about to see is the most powerful innovation to business in our lifetime, and maybe ever. And you might be a little freaked out about it. You might think it's awesome, but it's the power of AI. And this video is going to demonstrate that power and the ability to clone yourself in business. And I'm telling you right now, this is the biggest opportunity for small business owners ever. It gives them the leverage and power to use AI to level the playing field. So once we begin, it's not going to be me. It's an AI version of me. So check it out. I'll be back at the end to check in with you and see what you thought. There's a massive obstacle to making more income today. For anyone wanting to start a business and earn extra money, it's the one big thing that's going to hold them back. It's the fact that they don't know anything about marketing, not to mention social media, making videos, copywriting, graphic design, business strategy, product sourcing, customer support, and dozens of other required skills. Before long, they realize that running a business is not as simple as they thought. They actually need to juggle a dozen jobs that they don't know anything about, so they never start. Or worse yet, they try, struggle for a while, and then quit. Not having all the required skills feels like you're drowning in quicksand. And the cost of paying for having all this done can quickly drain all your savings. Well, what if you had a revolutionary set of game-changing AI tools that could do all this and so much more? Tools that help you market like a pro, even if you've never done any of it before. Would that give you the advantage you need to go for it? Do you have a business idea, or maybe just a whisper of one? Because if you do, right now is hands down the best time in history to start your very own business. Let me say this very clearly so it sinks in. With the help of AI, you can absolutely start a low-risk, low-cost business today, or scale the one you have with ease like never before. Whether you love AI or you've never used it before, whether you're 23 or 73, working full-time or between jobs, you're about to see how ridiculously simple it is to build a profitable business of your own. Profitable, flexible, and powered by tools that will make you feel like a fairy godmother just gave you a magic wand. You might think I'm... So I'll just stop it there. But all that imagery, all those videos, all the images, all the background music, all of that stuff was created by my AI suite. The tools in there. So, and could you tell, like, if you didn't know, would you be able to tell that was not me?
No.
So I literally am able to do presentations now and not even be there.
So you did that in HeyGen, right? I posted a link to HeyGen in the chat. I did that the other day. I said, oh, here's the upcoming events. I said, I'm Sue's AI twin. So I did tell them, but there were my friends actually at the beginning. They're like, wow, how'd you do that? I'm like, that wasn't me. That's not me. And they're like, wait a minute, what? It's not you? It's so fun.
It's really, really cool.
Amazing.
Good stuff. Some people are totally flipped out about it. Like my wife, it just freaks her out.
So, okay, I'm gonna start wrapping this up, you guys. I thank you so much, John, for being here. I really appreciate
Yeah.
it. I hope to see you guys on one of John's calls. I try to jump on as often as I can, and he's amazing. I hope you guys got something out of this today. I know we went way over, but I wanted you guys to meet John and get a little taste of what he offers because it's just, I mean, he's definitely not charging enough for his expertise, but I've learned, I'm not kidding you. This is where I learned most of what I teach is from him. So thank you guys all. John, thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
hope you guys come
Thank
back
you.
soon.
Thank
See you
you,
again.
Sue. Thanks,
Thank you
John.
so much.
You're welcome. Bye, everyone.